Hi, this is the video for Daf Ayin Tet, page 79 of Masechet Ketubot. I thought I would just go over the Agadah that appears at the end of this section. Oftentimes, and we may have noticed this throughout the Masechet, we have the abstract halacha, which gives us these principles, and they're very abstract, basically not taking into account all that often the particulars of the circumstances. And then we get the concrete halacha that we find in the Agadah and the legends and the stories. And they really tell us a little bit more, maybe as much as we can possibly see in a text that's that old, of what life was really like. And we have this story of Hahi Itata. This woman, very bottom of page 78, leading into page 79, there was a woman who wanted to keep her money away from her husband, meaning she came into marriage. Rashi says her second marriage, and that's possible, but it's not necessary. It could be, it is actually necessary in this case, because it turns out she has a daughter. So it's her second marriage, right? And she wants to keep her money away from her husband. She's perhaps a rich widow, which might have been very frequent for widows to be remarried, already with a daughter, and maybe the new husband wants to marry her for other reasons besides that he is in love with her. And she wants to keep her money away from him such that he will not have the ability to sell it, even if that sale only lasts for the duration of their marriage. And what does she do? Katvitinu levarta. She writes all of her money to her daughter. And there's an interesting machloket here in the Tosfot about whether or not she has to tell witnesses that she's writing the money only to keep it away from her husband. Rashi seems to say that she does. And she tells her, Hodia le'edim. He tells witnesses, the woman tells witnesses, She'ein matano zo matana, that this gift is not really a gift. It's only there to keep her money away from her husband, and she doesn't really want her daughter to get that money, should the wife be widowed or be divorced. But the Tosfot say, look, if the woman said it to witnesses that she was only giving her property to her daughter to keep it away from her husband, then obviously there's no issue over here. And I think probably the pshat is with the Tosfot. What she's trying to do is really hide her money with her daughter, something that happens in modern day economies in all sorts of ways all the time. But she doesn't let anybody know. And then we have to try to figure out, was that her intention or was it not her intention? I should note that this happens. We had a case in the beginning of the Masechet where somebody was about to die and he wrote all of his money to his kids. And then the question is, what happens if he gets better? Okay, so the question is, did he intend to give all of his money to his kids unconditionally? Or did he intend to give money to the kids only on the condition that he died and then he got better from whatever illness he was? So we see these kinds of questions all the time, trying to figure out what was in people's minds when they were selling something. And actually the sages here, for the most part, take this very seriously. They say, look, it's obvious. People don't just stam for no reason give all of their money to their children before they're dead, right? They might leave it right at the very end of their life or after their death as an inheritance. But while they're alive, they don't give all of their money to their children, even to this day. That is an abnormal thing to do. It must be that the reason that she did this was to keep her money away from her husband. And even more so, they say that that's okay, that's legitimate. A person has a right, maybe not a legal right, to keep her money away from her husband. We can understand that she wants to do so. And if she can find a way around having to give her money, at least the control of her money or her property, to her husband, she has that ability to do so. I think it's an interesting tidbit of what women would have done, especially wealthier women would have done, to try to keep their husbands from gaining too much control over their property.